Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You Fuller in the house.
Fuller in the house.
All right, you guys. I'll go out tell you folks we on with TC tonight. Ain't no stopping us now. That's what we should have played back.
No, this is our theme song, but we do not own the rights to this music. We are playing it for pleasure. We do not own the rights.
No, we sure do not.
Welcome to Tuesday, GodFidence.
And we're going to get it started.
We're gonna rocking. We're going to let TC have it tonight. He's just going to go let it rip. And he's such a blessing. The last 2 times he was on, and I just want him to bless the people. And I told you, you guys, once it stopped being ministry, I'm out. You know, I don't have the luxury of that kind of time to wait. So as it blesses you and continue to bless you, that's what we want to do. And as long as it bless you, you can count on us being here.
Yeah, so look, you guys, y'all notice that our background tonight is purple. And let me just say this. I ain't no Laker fan. Hey. But Fuller is where your Laker cap?
It's upset. I have chance. I just got in.
You're gonna wear the Falcon.
I'm gonna have to tonight. I'm not going upstairs and come back.
I'm telling you,
I had a full day.
I don't know about you guys, but I am not a Laker fan. But since my boys are not in this, my Golden State Warriors have been eliminated. I guess I will go with. Look at Fuller back there. What? Y'all know this is live. Fuller all in the house. If you want to get water. If I didn't know that, I get myself some water.
I'm just running around.
We got 3 minutes. 3 minutes that we think you're on. On.
3 minutes before we put on our professional face and voice. This is the Fullers with confidence. Yep.
We gotta get started.
Yep.
TC in the background chilling out in the furniture store because it's storming in Marietta. It's storming where we are too. And look, we may want to get us started before. If you know anything about ATL, when the power go out, if it storm, if it look like it's gonna storm, at least on the south.
And traffic.
Traffic, and it look like it's gonna rain or anything with the weather. The lights be trying to.
You throw a glass of water on somebody's windshield and traffic bags up for 10 miles.
What is going on? So anyway, baby, 5:59, and look, I know Terrence gonna have some little intro stuff to say. So can we kick it off? Because
we ready.
There's our boy right there. Look at y'all, he's chilling. This is our boy's house.
What up? What up? What up?
I got y'all in a new room in the house.
Right,
it's
right.
Called, it's called room.
You don't know whether it's a window back the screensaver.
Right.
Or if you really in a house or wherever you are. Looks good.
Listen,
might be in Russia. We don't know.
You gotta use your surroundings any way you can. So
yes, sir.
I got caught in the rainstorm and couldn't get back to the house while I was out shopping for patio furniture. So today's broadcast is coming to you from the 4th store that I've been in called Rooms to Go Patio.
Okay.
Good. Well, look, we are so happy to have you back with us. Let me tell you something. We went on live yesterday, but folks wasn't trying to hear us yesterday. They was like, "Where's Terrence at?" Well, we didn't stay on long, but we did. Well, people are coming back in. So, what's been going on, Terrence? Since we saw you last.
Yeah, just life. You know, for me, you know, a great deal of my time is spent traveling for business, and nothing has changed there. Lots of West Coast travel and conferences and all kinds of things in between. So staying busy and keeping things on track. My baby girl graduated from college, so all of them are now through college. The last of the Mohicans
Right.
has completed, and I just need to get her off my payroll now. Anybody want to give her a job?
Look here. Just make sure you still claim them for 2023.
Oh, I will need those deductibles, though. Yes,
You need those deductibles.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need that deductible.
So, but you are back in the city,
I
right
am.
in Kennesaw. Okay. Okay.
Yep, back in Kennesaw. You know, the funny thing is, again, we had her graduation, and of all people, Constance's sister, my big sister as well, Margie, is here in town with me. She's here
Oh,
shopping, so I might as well just put, since we all on blast for
yeah.
real. Look,
Right.
look. You all right? Look, she been out shopping with me.
Hey,
So I got my
Area.
big sister-in-law helping me do some, you know, you talked about this, Darlene, doing some remodeling, you know, trying to,
Yes.
you know, spruce
Change it up.
things up and put a
right.
little different vibe at the house. So that's what this is about.
Yeah.
I went out on my deck, you know, you normally go out and I pressure wash every year and get everything ready for the summer. And it was just too much.
Mhm.
Too many memories,
Right.
too many things that I wasn't even really using anyways,
Right.
and just stuff that we'd accumulated. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just purge. So I called a junk collection company today. They met me at the house, and I just said, I just cleaned almost the whole backyard out, and
Wow.
furniture, just stuff, and I'm just starting fresh. My sister-in-law
Good.
said, "So what is your first furniture style?" I said, "I will know when we see it. So
Right.
let's go."
I'm proud of
So
you, Terrence. That's good. That's awesome.
yeah,
Because look, if you
yeah,
look on the back deck right now, even the only thing you can see is the green egg. Other than that,
uh-huh.
I told Fuller one day, all that's got to go. It's
Gotta go.
empty deck. It
Yeah.
won't have no furniture except the
Yeah,
rug where the
yeah,
furniture set. And
yeah,
so, and the next time you come over our house, it looks
yeah.
completely different from the last time you and Constance were over it because we
Right.
changed everything. And so I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. That's awesome.
Well, Terrence,
No,
I moved out before I
yeah,
sold my house. I just had because Jean was in every room. Everywhere I went, she was at
right.
feel the place. And I couldn't heal. Ain't no way I could start the healing process. And
Fuller.
if I had better wisdom, I probably just did what you did, changed
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
out. But
But no,
I have a special person I want to holler at, and I'm sure you'll address some of these things tonight. She just lost her husband in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Just lost her husband about a couple months ago.
yeah,
Lady Bridges, Mama Bridges is what the kids called her, and I know you'll talk about some things to help her
yeah,
bring healing.
Yeah.
And they are very close to me. I mean, they pick me up, take care of me when I go in Mississippi. So I'm sure you're gonna speak some things to her. And I'm just glad to see her on to start a healing process.
Yeah, so let's kind of kick things off, TC.
yeah,
So this is our Godfidence. It happens typically every Monday night, but for the sake of our friend, our boy, who is like the world
World
traveler, I'm just glad he graced our Godfidence with his presence on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so we get a chance to continue our conversation about him and the loss of his spouse, which is my girlfriend, Constance Caston, praise and worship leader extraordinaire, fashion extraordinaire, woman who looked like she about 20 years old. I know she was older than me. And I'm like, look here, Constance, we ain't going out to eat no more. And so all of that is, and then for Mother's Day, which is where I would like to actually start. For Mother's
yeah,
Day, I was so blessed to see all the pictures of the family together, your baby girl graduating, and then
yeah.
just every time y'all take pictures. TC has five. Is it five girls?
4 daughters, but I have a niece that I call my niece daughter. We kind of help bring her up as well.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll see those pictures, and then Fuller, I know TC love me. TC will always say, if I don't fool with you, you know. I don't fool with you. But I looked through the pictures, and TC had a picture of us with him and Constance.
Wow.
I was like,
That's right.
Look at us. I feel honored.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell us about Terrence.
Yeah.
We talked a lot. There's a part one.
Yeah.
Did several weeks ago. Did part two about 3 weeks ago. So now we're on part 3. And
Right.
Mother's Day was this past weekend.
Yeah.
So tell us about that for you, because there are people on here.
Yeah.
Just mentioned Bridges is on here, and lost spouse, right? And so
yeah,
people are tuning in that have lost their spouses, and it's like, what do I do? It's Mother's Day, it's Father's Day, it's holidays,
right.
it's birthday, all of that. So how did that go?
Yeah. So it was just the extension of every day this year for me. So with Constance passing December 20th, as we clicked over the new year, starting with New Year's Eve, no, forget that, starting with Christmas,
Right.
every event is the first.
Right.
So
Yeah.
New Year's Day,
Right.
Easter,
Yeah.
Mother's Day, all this year is going to be the first ever being without her. And so, to be frankly honest, yesterday was tough.
Yeah.
And, I've talked to enough people to know that this is not something that goes away. This is something that gets better with time. And you just have to go through it. And so, what I did, instead of allowing it to take me to a sad place, I just became grateful instead. I chose to use that energy, that sorrow that I had, and just focus on all that was good. And the post that I put on Facebook spoke to that. Today, I'm not sad, and I'm at peace, knowing she was at peace, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that the best years of my life was spent with this amazing woman who gave me 4 amazing daughters. And we had a wonderful life full of ups and downs, good and bad, and everything in between. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. So yesterday for me became a reflection of that. And I spent time. It was kind of weird because I was home by myself this weekend. My daughter and my sister-in-law had traveled to my other niece's graduation, and my crazy schedule, I actually thought I was flying out today, and then it changed, but I was home by myself. So that first, Mother's Day, there I was by myself, having to just move and operate. Fuller, like you said, you got to remember, Constance was a interior decorator.
Yeah.
I tell people I lived in that house 21 years. I ain't bought nothing. Now I paid for everything,
Right.
but I ain't bought nothing. So every room, every corner of this house is her.
Right.
Every painting, every picture, every item in the entire house, she personally bought. And so equally understand that feeling of wondering, can you heal in that environment? And for me, a little of that today was the words you guys that gave me. Darlene told me this several months ago. Consider refreshing rooms, consider redesigning or calling in an interior decorator. I think she even said she had somebody for me. And so that's kind of what happened on Mother's Day. I took time to reflect, be thankful, spend some time. I'll tell you something I did do, and I'll tell anybody this as well. We capture a lot of amazing moments on our phones. And I, like everybody else, even as a photographer, had so much amazing footage on my phone. And about a month ago, I walked off and left my phone in a restaurant. And it was the first time that it hit me what was on this phone. And I lost my mind waiting for the next morning for this place to open. And so yesterday, and I've been telling myself for weeks, get all of your content backed up. I did that, and I backed up like 35 gigs of videos and photos, and then began going through them. So I saw 5-6 year timeline of videos and trips that we had taken and all kinds of personal moments. And yep, some of it was full of tears. Other moments were full of joy. And when I was done, I made myself settle down and focus on just being grateful.
Yeah.
And not allowing that day to get away from me as this sad, dark, gloomy place. I will tell anybody on this journey, you must decide if you are going to be sad. You have to decide, because sadness is going to come, but you decide. It's okay to have a sad moment. It's not okay to have a sad day. And so I've learned to control that. I'm getting better. And yes, this happens with time, but you need to know that in advance, that you still own your day. And not to mention, how dare we be in that state if our loved ones are truly in heaven? I'm like, what am I sad about, right? This woman is in the most magnificent place there is. If anything, she ought to be sad for us. We still down here going through it.
Yeah.
So when I regrouped, changed my frame of mind, the second part of my day went much better than the beginning. So it ended up being an experience, as I will experience others. You know, her birthday is July 31st. I'm about to celebrate my own birthday without her on May 27th. And I am just learning to prepare myself for those moments and then allow the moment to happen. It's not like I'm walking around like, oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm a man up. I just allow the moments to happen, and I always come back to center and say, but I'm really grateful that I had the time. That's what I've been doing. That's how I've been getting through each and every day, which is now turning into months. The other things that have been going on is just, continuing to try and figure out the next chapter. And, when we lose someone that close, it's hard to, for me, it was hard to think clear. Because everything that you've done for me, 40 years, everything I've done, I consulted her. I talked to her. I had to run it by her. And now I'm out here like on my own, Darlene. I'm out here in these streets, girl.
Right. And then you want to pick up the phone and say, let me call. And you're like, man.
You're right. And that's another thing, that's always an impulse to just check in. It's always an impulse to, when you're somewhere later, to just say, hey, just let you know I'm over such and such, I'll be home. And then, and I'm sitting around going, wow, I got to check in with Michaela. The baby girl thinks she running the house now. So if I mess around and go out too long and don't call her, she will be calling. But it's a different kind of check-in.
It is.
Yeah.
So learning to make the changes that come with that. And then I'll tell anybody else going through this, learning how to be alone. Learning how to be alone. That is foreign to me.
Right.
40 years. I've never, between kids and my wife, I've never been alone.
I think, TC, I think for men, it's a lot tougher. Than women. So for women, I don't know if we were just brought up in a way, especially if you're an independent woman, where you just feel like, one, you got to be hard. One, you just got to keep moving on. And even though, I shed a lot of tears. I mean, I remember being on the ground, just crying because my situation was different, right? And so before, when I met him, I asked Fuller, like, here's some places you can go. I was really trying to make light of some things. And so I asked him about, telling him some places to eat. He was like, I don't eat by myself. I was like, you don't eat by yourself.
Yeah.
He just does it. He doesn't do it now.
Yeah. I'll call somebody in a minute. What you doing? You go get something to eat. Yeah. Same way when I travel.
Somebody asked me, well, when all this over with, you gonna go on vacation? I said, how I do that? would I do that? You know, like you said, you and Constance, you was always together. I met them vacation without Gene, you know, and so
but it's the most interesting things that people ask you when you lose someone, and they're trying to be as sensitive as they can. They want to know what happened. They want to be sensitive to you, but they don't know what to say. And I said in one of our sessions, don't say anything. Just your mere presence is okay. Just to be there and just sit there, or just send some toilet paper, send some whatever, send some stuff that, some paper towels, or come over and clean the house, send a maid or something. So you don't know what to say, then don't just start saying stuff.
Just your presence.
Just your presence. And it's okay to say nothing, because in most cases there are no words anyway. So let's not even waste our time with that.
Please don't say
There's
everything's
nothing.
Gonna be okay.
I'm so far over cliches. When you're on the other side of the receiving end of that, every one of those cliches you've ever said to someone comes back to you.
Right.
And you go, I had no idea what that sounded like.
Right.
And ultimately what it meant, because I can't do nothing with none of that. Nothing you say, I can't do, and I'm not being mean. I can't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
So
I know how you feel, bro. I know how you feel. No, you don't either.
No, you don't.
You're not been here. You don't have a clue.
That's why TC has told me and Fuller, and that's why for those that are listening, please, if you know somebody's lost a spouse, share this with them so that they can get, so that they know they're not by themselves, and that other people. I mean, we can name probably. I got two hands. I can name people that have lost their spouse, and so I'm so glad, TC, that you really get to be real. Say people real.
For real. For real. And so, along with this journey comes also the decision, and I'll tell you, and my sister-in-law is sitting right here in front of me, the decision to decide to stay connected to people. When you initially go through this, you go, there's nobody else. I can never be anybody else. I want this person more than life itself, so nobody can ever fulfill that. She also lost her husband many years ago. And of course, this is her sister. And she said to me shortly after Constance passed, once you heal, never allow yourself to just be alone. You don't have to be alone. Find a way to move forward, make friends, get out. Don't allow yourself to fall in that place to where over time it becomes harder and harder to reassess yourself and be with friends and have friends for different events. And, no, ain't nobody trying to date right now, but you need friends. You need people to do things with. Otherwise, you find yourself in this dark place that for people judging you, they feel you're supposed to be there. Okay. And then if you're not careful, you take that on yourself and feel like, well, I've lost her and I should just be here by myself alone forever, sad forever. I'm here to tell y'all, I can't do it. I was in this black, dark place for about 90 days. And I told my children this the other day, it's the only time in my life I wanted to die. Now, I've wanted to kill some people, but I ain't never wanted to hurt me. But I had moments where I just didn't want to be here. And I've never in my life felt like that. And so you have to catch those thoughts and work your way out of that, because if you stay there, you probably will die.
So can I tell you this, TC, real quick?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Full on the spot. You remember what you said to me?
I felt the same way. What I said.
You felt that?
What I say?
Fuller said his other house, beautiful house, it had a swimming pool in the backyard. Fuller swam. When I met him, he swam every single day. He was, breathing. He worked out all the time. He was walking all the time. He wasn't eating. And so he said, we were just having general conversation. We weren't seeing each other. And I was the person that he was talking to. So he said, I'm just going to be real with you. One time I thought about going into the backyard and getting in the pool and just
drowning myself.
Just drowning himself.
Yeah.
I did.
And I don't know how he would do it because he knows how to swim, but he was like, I just thought about doing that. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I can relate, and since we're just being transparent, I almost, had my girls come take my Glock and leave it at their house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because I said, what if I fall into a really, really, really dark place
Yeah.
in here in my room and just,
You just want relief
right.
from the pain. You just want relief from the pain. The pain is so deep.
Totally.
Deep.
Totally.
You guys, what we shared is just real.
This is real.
It is for those that are married. You got somebody, you got people around you. You've never lost a spouse. This stuff you cannot.
Yeah.
You can't. You will not understand this unless
Yeah.
you've lost a spouse. And I don't know how I got through it. Fuller don't know how you got through it. And you don't know how you got through it. It's only by the grace. It really is.
Grace.
That's
the grace. People's prayers. It becomes another reason why when I see people who say I'm praying for you, I thank them from the deepest depths of my heart, because I know had it not been for your prayers, like when I was in those dark moments before I regained my senses, just to even have a thought like that, that is people praying for you that bring you back out of that moment and go, what? I would never harm myself. I would never leave my children. I would never take that escape. But in that quick moment, you go, but it would feel better than how I feel now. So that's people praying for you that comes and captures those thoughts and literally allows you the strength to just regain your senses and be like, never. And so I say that boldly right now because I don't even want that in the atmosphere. I would never do any harm to me. And I have no intentions of leaving here before God calls me. And I'm trying to be here for 50 more years if I can help it. So I ain't going out like that. Okay.
Oh,
so
man.
it happens. It happens. And it's probably normal. I think if we spoke to others who have been in this level of grieving, that absolutely probably becomes a thought. But my father-in-law used to say, where there's life, there's hope. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm at a place now where I am seeking God differently, and even to a place to where I'm thanking him again. And I can remember thinking when she passed, I don't know if I could ever do that again. I said in the first episode of this thing, it rocked my faith to the core. Of not understanding why and how this could happen. And, we love you with all of our beings. She loved you with all of her beings. We prayed, we fasted, we did all these things. We did everything you said. We served, we quoted scriptures. We read the word. You said the word was the bottom, line. We did all of that. We lived for you. We did all of that. And you let her die. It shocked and rocked my foundation. And there are days where I still process that from that place and say, the only thing that gives me relief is I'm just not going to know the why to everything on this side of heaven.
That's right.
That's it. I just had to settle with, but I just want to know why. Well, you just ain't going to know the why to everything on this side of heaven. I'm sure when I wake up on the other side, we're going to have some good conversation. And Connie will be there. We'll talk about how this thing really worked, but it's some stuff you're not going to know. So I had to accept that and make up my mind to still trust him. Now that's a statement, because I wanted to just not. I'm like, you let me down. This was the worst day of my entire life. How could you let me down now? Like, then are you real? How can you fail? They say you can't fail.
Yeah.
How can this be? And I had to process that and say, then you still have a choice. You can either choose to believe or not.
Right.
And I think I woke up and thought about, so if you choose not to believe, what you got? You got just nothing. You got just life can just dish you anything. You ain't got no power to correct it, no power to see it coming, no power to come back from it. You just at the whim of life.
Yeah.
And I don't think I like that either. So I said, well, I think I'm gonna just keep believing, because I had a little strength during a lot of that. And he was still a comforter when I never thought he would be. And he was still somebody that would make me feel good in the midst of the worst days of my life. And then I was sharing with my sister-in-law recently all the miraculous things that were happening during this time. Even with my career, I ended up having the best moments in my 30-year career happen in the midst of this.
Yeah.
Going to work for my dream company, making vice president as the only Black VP in this company's history, having all the things I ever desired from a career happen right in the midst of this, to the point of where we never even celebrated them because we were dealing with all of this. And it was like, I just minimized that and said, that is not my focus right now. That's great. I'm going to keep pushing through. But when I sit back and think about how good God was, even in the midst of my worst days of my life,
Yeah.
he's still great.
Yeah.
He's still great. And you have to pause to think about it, because initially you see those as just dark days. But in the middle of every one of those dark days, he kept showing up. Favor for her, favor for the family. My career was amazing. Could you imagine being just financially devastated and losing a spouse simultaneously and all of that? I mean, I'm sure people go through it. I've heard horror stories. People don't have insurance, don't have medical, don't all of that. None of that is my story. My world is good. And ultimately, I had to pause and say, you still got reason to be thankful. Because in the midst of those dark storms, he was a light showing up right in the middle of it all. No, he didn't have an explanation for what was going on, but everything else, he was working it out.
Amen.
He's working it out. And I think we all have that.
Amen.
The question is, are you pausing, taking time, and thinking about what's happening in the midst of that storm? Because when it's raging, all you hearing is the wind and stuff flying around. But are you thinking about in that moment, you're safe? Like being in a tornado, in your bathroom, in the tub. It's crazy outside, but in that moment, you're in the tub, you're safe. Yeah. And that's kind of what it began making me think about. Was I just came out of a crazy storm, and in the midst of it, he still had my back. He had my children's back. I kept my mind. My kids kept their mind. We lost the most important things in our life, and here we are. I couldn't even imagine, but I'm finding myself having good times and finding people that I want to spend time with and laughing with my family. And I literally never thought I'd be able to do that again and be at peace. But I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah,
God is good.
Yeah, God is good. TC, look at I don't know if you can see this on your screen, but someone asked a question. Yvonne Holmes asked, what about the children and their connection? Of course, we know they have an amazing relationship with their mom. How do they get through this time? I mean, you guys are laughing. Yeah. I know you're talking about it. It's just how you guys are. And so
let me share. Yeah, let me share a couple of things. So, baby girl Michaela, who just graduated from college, is the only one that lives at home. All the other girls are grown. My one daughter, Tori, lives in Smyrna. My other daughter lives in Chicago. And my oldest daughter lives in Nashville. And my son is over in Albuquerque. What I'm up close and personal with is Michaela. It's her and I trying to get through the day. And so my experience with it has been to constantly take care of each other, because we grieve differently. She's grieving for her mom. I'm grieving for my wife. Wow. Michaela grieves by posting pictures and videos and anything she can think of her mom. I'm not at a point where I can look at too many pictures of her without losing my day. Yeah. So we're processing very differently. And so where she constantly needs images, I just need to feel her peace. I can't watch too much content. Right. So I understand how she flows. She understands how I flow. But even in the midst of it, you have to think about when you lose someone like that, all the areas of your life are affected. Everything, things you don't even think about are affected. And she said something to me one day. I came in one day after a trip and I was kind of getting on her about, keeping the house in a certain area. First of all, her mom would never have allowed anything to be out of place in this house. Right. And I've been traveling, so she's been studying for her finals and all of that, and the pressure of all. I got it. But I came in and I said, hey, I need you. I told her flat out, look, I don't live in a dorm. This is a house. And we need it to look like a house. So she got the message. There was some stuff she needed to tidy up, but she got a little upset with me and kind of, was like, but you never asked me how I'm doing. And she walked away. So I gave her a moment and I waited and I called her into my room and I asked her about what she meant by that. And she was like, you're just constantly asking me to do things. My thing is trying to keep everybody on the tracks because we've had such a catastrophic moment that we still got stuff to do. You got to graduate from school. I got to go to work. I got to be here. So I'm trying to keep her on the tracks. But she reminded me that, but even in the midst of that, sometimes we just need to check on each other.
Yeah,
Forget the fact that dishes didn't get done. Forget the fact that the house is a little messy. How are you, Michaela?
Right.
How are you?
Right.
And I told her I was sorry for overlooking that. And I told her, you know what? We both need that because in the midst, I am doing it all for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
Everything.
Right.
And it is beyond overwhelming. That's cleaning house, washing clothes, paying bills, traveling, keeping up with her stuff. I don't even want to tell you how bad I forgot her graduation, y'all. You hear me? Forgot. Wow. I'm in Vegas. I flew from Vegas to Atlanta and back to Vegas to finish a show.
Wow.
So, and I've never forgotten anything like that. How could I forget that? Right. So
right.
It's those kinds of days where we need to give each other grace. And that's kind of what I told her.
Process.
You got to give grace.
Yeah. You process the difference and you just walking around doing life.
Right.
You're not really thinking. You just going through the motions.
Right. Going through the motions. Right. Going through the motions. But it's an individual journey. And I will tell also anybody, if you don't currently, you should have a counselor. My whole family has used counselors for many years, not just a grieving counselor. Our personal counselors have turned into grieving counselors to some degree, which is good. But you need a personal counselor because what I'm dealing with is different than what my daughters are dealing with.
Exactly.
And so anybody dealing with this, I'm here to tell you, do not walk this journey alone. Do not walk this journey simply relying on your family members. And I'm going to put it out there. Your church members, you need professional people who can take you through this journey. Your pastor is not enough. I'm sorry. You need professional people. Yeah. You can use them as well, but you need someone who that's just what they do.
Professionally.
Yes.
Professionally. Yes. And that will expedite your journey in healing, in understanding, in finding a way to move through. And if you're lucky like me, I found an amazing professional Christian counselor. Sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes just because they got Christian in front of their name, they ain't worth two dead flies. Don't fall for the okie dokie.
Right.
But I have an amazing person, amazing guy who is grounded. We pray. We go at it from the Bible. We go at it from reality. We go at it from the professional aspect. And it has been amazing to me. You absolutely should seek that out. I would advise anybody not to wait. Have that person in your life for both you and your family. My girls have done family grieving counseling together. We're all on the call with the counselor. Yeah. And then we get an opportunity to hear how each person is processing. And then they have an opportunity to give us the necessary professional feedback we need to finish the journey. Because you're grieving in different stages and in different ways, and yet you're grieving collectively. And again, unless you're talking to professionals, ain't nobody gonna be able to come in your house and tell you that. And unless this all your pastor do, he ain't gonna have this insight. So go get professional counseling.
So look here from Big Boat. He said you too light skinned. So look, you guys, DC, it was amazing.
You don't pay no attention. That boy need medication. That boy need medication.
But we've had an amazing time with you, TC. We thank you for keeping it real. And you know what we're gonna do is in about, let's say, 3 to 6 months, we're gonna check in and do part for.
And,
To
I
see
would
what
love
your
that.
journey looks like.
we're gonna have a
I'm
golf
learning so many things. I'm
a
learning
golf
so.
events, TC
I
journey.
would, I would love to share the things that I'm learning, and I don't believe that God is allowing me to take this journey for me. So
Yeah.
it is for things like this, for people to hear and to be able to impart into them a world that I never would have imagined being in. But I'm going to use every ounce of who I am, my articulation skills, my ability to communicate, my ability to share. I'm going to continue to share this with anyone who is willing to hear it and that I can help, because I think it's just, first of all, it is a part of life. We never prepare for loss. We only prepare to win. And
Yeah.
guess what? Life is equally about loss. And so this is just one of those chapters where I'm going to get just as, strong in learning how to lose and come back as I do winning. And I think we all should take
That was
some
good.
notes on that.
That was good.
You made all us better on behalf of Darlene and myself. You so blessed us, and thank you for being real, transparent.
Thank you.
And we're gonna have you back. GodFidence, TC's journey.
TC's journey. There you go. So this has been 5 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
We lost Constance.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back
3
in the
months.
summertime, maybe around her birthday time.
Yeah.
You gotta get an update on how things are going. But in the meantime, TC, we love you.
Yeah.
And thank
Love
you
you more.
for the tears, and thank you for the joy, the laughter,
Yeah.
the jokes. And work hard, make that money, pray, all that. We got you covered. In fact, we had some posts. Other people said that Constance was maybe that was your assignment. And so who knows what God's plan is. But thank God that we got a chance to know you both. Right.
Thank you.
And so thank you guys for tuning in tonight. This has been GodFidence. What is this? Tuesday, May the 16th. And we are out. Come on, TC. Here you go.
Look here.
Hey.
Next Monday night, we will reach you and be GodFidence in Montreal, Canada.
We will be in Canada.
Nice.
For Montreal.
Yep. And tomorrow is Austin's graduation.
Right.
So
nice.
Shout out for Austin.
Yeah.
So with that,
all right.
Take it out. Take it out. Take it out.
Because that's what we do.
This is how we do it. Y'all take care. We out. Love you guys.